Hey guys, what's going on? Josh here from Polymathics, the YouTube channel that helps you become a modern day Renaissance man. And today we're continuing our series in NaNoWriMology, and we're going to talk about video games. Now I know what a lot of you guys are probably thinking, video games has nothing to do with writing. That's playing around and you need to get to business. But here's the cool thing. Over the last decade or so, video games have become an industry leader, multi-billion-dollar industry, making tons of money. And one of the main reasons that their sales have started to skyrocket is because many video game companies are starting to realize that in order to make a blockbuster game, you have to have a story that's solid. You have to have a story that resonates with your fans. And so what we see is a lot of companies hiring on really professional writers to do their scripts, to do their run-throughs. And just, to name a couple off the top of my head, you have Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, all the different versions of that, Skyrim, Halo, Mass Effect. Mass Effect, I mean, you want to talk about a game that has a story, it's incredible. It's highly cinematic, and I would not doubt that we'll see it in a few years come to the big screen. World of Warcraft. That's one that's actually is going to be going to the big screen. And there are countless others. The point is that as we write our novel, we can learn a lesson or two from those who do stories in video games. And the main thing that I think video games can teach all of us is pacing. And we can't pay too much attention to pacing while we're doing Nano because, again, we're just trying to get words on paper. But there are a couple little things we can keep in mind. And in order to illustrate this, I want to tell you a quick story about one of the games that I remember from my my late teens, my early 20s, which was Jedi Knight Outcast. And it follows, for any of you guys who don't know, it follows this smuggler slash Jedi called Kyle Katarn. And he has force sensitivity, and he's kind of, dealt with some Jedi stuff before, but he's mainly a smuggler. Him and his girlfriend Juno. And they work for the Alliance, the Rebellion, and they they do this, that, and the other thing. And essentially, through a series of unfortunate events, they discover that the remnant of the Empire is making clones that have Jedi abilities. And so what he does is he has to relearn all of these force abilities that he's tried to suppress over the years. And what they do in the first few stages of the story is they don't just give him a lightsaber and show him doing all these crazy acrobatic moves and force push and Jedi mind tricks and things like that. They slowly walk you through the entire process so that you feel as though you're learning how to do these moves yourself, even though you're not, right? But that same feeling of the walkthrough that they're giving their audience is the same thing that you want to give your audience, especially if you're introducing them to a new world. Now, another story that I think does really well with this that is not a video game is Aragon. Any of you guys who have read the Christopher Poloni series of Aragon know that he very slowly walks you through kind of the way magic is spoken and how you can do scrying and things like that. Another good one is the Harry Potter books. Because Harry is so unfamiliar with the world of wizardry, all of the teachers and Hagrid kind of walk him through at a very young age, all the little things that he has to learn. And therefore, your audience feels the same way. So a lot of times for those of us who are creating worlds that are new and completely wildly different and fantastical from the real world that we're in, the best thing to do is have a character who is unfamiliar with that world. And so therefore, as they go through and they start to learn about it, so do you. If you look at Luke Skywalker from Star Wars, he was a boy who lived on a farm in a backwater planet. And he didn't know all the things that were going on with the rebellion and the Empire. And so he was slowly walked through, like, what is a Jedi? What is the Force? What is a lightsaber? How do I get involved with these guys? And so as they're going along, like, the audience is also learning these things. It just doesn't throw you into it. If we look at TV series, a series that I think did a really good job and took a big risk was Fringe. Because Fringe goes, for anybody who has seen any of those episodes, especially the later ones, Fringe goes into alternate realities. It goes into some of the most crazy science you could ever possibly imagine. But because in the first few episodes they grounded it in reality and they slowly walked the audience through where all this stuff was coming from and how it had happened, that there was like this tear in the universe and all this business, right? It allowed our minds to kind of, slowly adjust, and then before you know it, your readers are hooked. So as you're writing your story, there's two things that I would recommend that everybody think about. One is, if you're introducing a very fantastical world that is not grounded in reality, use a character, and it doesn't have to be your main character, but use some character who's unfamiliar with that world, or maybe they've lost their memory or something, and they have to be reminded, so that you can use them as a plot device to slowly ease the rest of the audience into your world, and they can also get comfortable with it. And then secondly, I would say use pacing, right? Don't just jump into having your protagonist or your main character have the ability to, do backflips in the air and teleport if there's a whole thing behind it. Like, sometimes the audience being able to go through those steps and learn it is just, if not more cool than just seeing it, just happen automatically. Because then it makes them feel as though they worked for it. It makes them feel as though they had to, do all the grinding along with the main character. If you think about a lot of good movies or stories, they don't jump into action with like lightsaber battles or wand battles or dragons. They slowly ease into it. Lord of the Rings, another great example, right? Almost the entire first film with the Fellowship of the Ring, except for the very beginning where they give you the prologue, the adventure is very tame. And it's only at the end where you start to see like thousands of the, not the orcs, but the goblins in the underground tunnels. And then the Balrog comes out. And that's like the huge climax, is like you see this giant monster. And what's happened is Tolkien has slowly walked them from the regular world, which is like Hobbiton, and then out beyond the threshold into the wild craziness that is Middle Earth. And we start to see things like elves and giant eagles and wizards who fight, and these squid monsters, right? It's a slow build up until finally we get to this Balrog, this ancient demon that's a giant monster. It's like a titan. And we get to finally see Gandalf use some of his like amazing powers. So anyways, keep that in mind, right? You want to have that build up so that the audience can get super excited, because they know that they finally are going to get to see the hero use that special ability that they've been working so hard to cultivate and develop. So hopefully that's been helpful. And if it has been, please give me a like. And if you'd like to hear more about NaNoWriMo or polymathics and becoming a modern day Renaissance man, then please, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. And what that'll do is that'll give you all my new videos as they come out, and, along with all the content that I've already created right at your fingertips. And then lastly, I guess I would say, if you think that I've forgotten something, if you can think of a really great story or video game that had awesome pacing, or did a really good job of introducing a character and then showing a world, like a new world through them, please drop it in the comments below to edify both myself and the rest of the viewers on the YouTube channel. But until next time, keep fighting the good fight and writing the good right. Take it easy.